Subjectively or objectively, My Wife and Kids was one of the funnier shows in the early 2000s. At least to me it was. I always enjoyed My Wife and Kids in rewatch and in the past more than any other early 2000s sitcom that came out. My favorites definitely were this show and One-on-One. Like, Kyla Pratt is just an icon and she will be cemented into iconery. And I've just never really been a fan of Martin. Sorry, like, I don't know, like, liking Martin to me is like a red flag. Not that I think Martin the show is a red flag. There was definitely some questionable things that were going on in that show, and honestly, rewatching a lot of these early 2000s shows, there was just a lot of phobias and isms that you just can't look past these days. But I don't know, something about people that have Martin as their favorite sitcom I steer away from. But a couple years ago, I remember rewatching My Wife and Kids, and I wanted to talk about this episode for a long time, but I wasn't active on my channel yet. But recently, my big sister was rewatching My Wife and Kids, and I was like, right, I wanted to talk about this episode. So this is kind of going to be like a little video rant, not really too much scripted out, just some quick notes. But I really wanted to talk about this fatphobic episode of My Wife and Kids by the name of Thru Thick and Thin. What's good, guys? It's Alissa. If you're new here, hello. First things first, I always got to get the formalities, the promo out the way. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I recently made a Blue Sky account. I also have a second channel that you can subscribe to me on. I do more lifestyle stuff. Still trying to figure out what I'm doing with both these channels. I think I'm going to stick to, you know, shows and movies and stuff on this channel, more lifestyle stuff on my second channel, and just topics that I don't want to talk about to my bigger audience over here. All that information is always in the description box down below. And of course, if you're liking this video so far, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Anyway, let's get into it. All right, I'm kind of going to be speaking as if you've seen My Wife and Kids already, so I apologize because this is just me getting this off my chest. So anyway, the beginning of the episode starts with the glaring absence of Jay, who is Michael Kyle's wife, and this is the start of season 2. So the show claims that she's away because she's taking care of her mom who broke her leg, and this show is just full of just wacky shenanigans. But anyway, Jay is away because her mom her leg, and so their dad, Michael Kyle, is in charge of their 3 kids, Katie, Claire, and Junior. But in this particular episode, it's only a couple episodes into season 2, Michael is having a recurring nightmare that a whale is chasing him, and so he speaks to his therapist to figure out what's going on. And also Anthony Anderson jump scare. So his therapist tells him that his anxiety is coming from the fact that his wife Jay is coming back and he doesn't feel like he's in control anymore or something like that. But when Michael comes back home and Jay arrives, he sends the kids away because his therapist told him to just, you know, have a day to themselves, a little parent day, cook a nice dinner. So he sends the kids away to a movie, and Jay comes back and he notices that she has significantly gained some weight since she left. Now, this is a Wayans Brothers show, so they're gonna fill every single line with comedy, so it was just back-to-back jokes, but they were like passive jokes about Jay's weight, and I was just like, as I was watching the episode, because I'm just like, something isn't sitting right with me about how he's speaking to his wife. I'll get into that later, but he passively says that she fills up the room, and immediately they start with Jay and making these food jokes. She could smell food coming from the other room.
Well, I made some chicken dumplings for the kids before I sent them out to the movies.
So we're all alone? Yeah. Oh, baby, how romantic. You got any biscuits left?
That's it. Yeah, there's biscuits.
And it was funny. I laughed, but I was just like, come on now. Like, it was just non-stop. When they're headed to bed, he picks up her drawer. See, I'm laughing now, but like, it was so ridiculous. He picks up her drawers, and her drawers were like huge, and then she sits on the bed and he like rolls over to the other side of the bed. Now, one thing I'll give Damon Wayans is he is very good at physical comedy, so the physical comedy aspect of all of this was hilarious, but it was just like, this is so extreme. And he even slips up and calls her Moby, like the whale, which literally takes us back to the beginning of the episode when he was having that that recurring dream that a whale was chasing him. Yeah. So when I first watched this episode, well, when I first rewatched this episode way back when, I was curious. I was like, why was she gone at the beginning of the season? One, I wasn't concerned about why she gained weight. I was just like, okay, why was she gone at the beginning of the season? Turns out Tisha Campbell, who plays Jay, was away on maternity leave because she just had her son. So she had a real life weight gain, and they wrote it into the show this way. And it's like, I understand that this is what she signed up for, you know, this is the show that she's on, and maybe she didn't mind, but it was just like, to make her be the butt of the joke and, you know, signing up to be the butt of the joke, I don't know if I could do it. And especially as a woman dealing with natural body changes after having a whole baby, I don't know, this just didn't sit right with me. This is also the season where they changed Claire, and I know there was a lot of controversy with why they changed Claire, but again, I'm always curious, so I always Google. So I guess the original girl that played Claire, which I was watching Waiting to Exhale, and the original girl that played Claire was in that movie. She played Angela Bassett's daughter. I was like, that's Claire. But anyway, I guess Claire's mom, the actress that played her originally, was not comfortable with a storyline that they had in season 2 where one of her friends gets pregnant, which I think is the Raven Simone episode. So she like pulled her out of the show, so they had to recast her. Now, the person they chose, you know, I think it's the controversy with that she was dark skinned and was changed to a light skinned girl, but I actually really enjoyed the second Claire. They were actually both really good in their own different ways at playing Claire, but you know, I ain't complaining about the Claire that we got. So I was actually just kind of shocked that the show kept their momentum in season 2 with Jay not being there for the original, for the first few episodes, and also changing a main character casting. I was like, I'm shocked the show got like more seasons after this. But anyway, Michael goes to his therapist again, Anthony Anderson jump scare. And he's complaining about her weight gain. And I remember earlier in the episode, he was like rubbing Jay's butt like, whoa, her butt got too big. And he says that her butt went from J-Lo to Jello. And I'm just like, this is that early 2000s, like anti-big butt propaganda. Like, what the hell is wrong with having a big butt? Like, it's crazy that nowadays like fitness has shifted to girls wanting to have like a huge butt, or even just, you know, BBLs and things like that. And if you're new to this channel, if you have not watched one of my 𝙈𝙪𝙗 videos, I am not anti-plastic surgery, I'm not anti-cosmetic surgery. A lot of people made some great points that sometimes people need cosmetic surgery, but me personally, I just really think that it's a societal issue and a personal, you know, security issue. People can essentially do what they want with their bodies as long as they're going the safe routes about doing it. So this is not an anti-BBL, let's make fun of girls channel. Take that elsewhere. Anyway, I also remember on Moesha, where Moesha was like voted biggest butt at school or something. I rewatched Moesha too. This is when Netflix put all those old UPN shows on, like in 2020. And Moesha was probably the hardest rewatch. Like that was hard to watch. Like Frank is like top 10, probably top 2 and not number 2. Worst TV dads? Yeah, no. But Moesha was mad that she got voted like biggest butt. And I'm like, what is this? And one, Michael was tripping on My Wife and Kids because Tisha Campbell had that wagon, so I don't know what he was complaining about. So his therapist gives him the worst solution to this problem. It's like, hey, did you fantasize about somebody else? Did that work? Because he couldn't get it up in bed, whatever. And he was like, yeah, I fantasized that she was highly married. And I'm like, what? This is horrible advice. And also like fantasizing that your wife is someone else in bed is like insanity. So anyway, they're back home and we continue on with these food jokes. Jay is like kissing him and she can taste what he ate.
You had a burger today with mustard. And when you start eating rye bread?
Wow, you're better than one of them dogs at the airport.
And I'm like, just because she gained weight, how all of a sudden she like this greedy monster? Like, what? Like, I always think that like appetite and stuff is so mental, where it's like, and I'm not talking about suppressing your appetite. I'm just like, you know, sometimes it's like you don't need all this extra snacking. It's like, just tell yourself no. Because like me myself, when I eat too much, I just feel groggy the next day. Like when you drink and then the next day it's like, this is not sitting in my stomach right. It's like I could have said no to an extra slice. You know, I really shouldn't be eating ice cream. But I just need a little scoop. I need a little scoop. Y'all, that Haagen-Dazs caramel cone ice cream, like, arrest me. Like, Oh my gosh, I literally cannot put that down. Anyway, Jay confesses that she actually has been self-conscious about her weight with Michael, but after his therapist suggests that he takes a Viagra to, you know, get it up in bed, I guess they really was knocking the boots that night. So she was like, you made me feel so beautiful, and you know, I was thinking about losing weight, but now, you know, I was self-conscious about the fact that I gained weight. And he was trying to pretend like he just didn't notice that she gained weight. He like, what? No, like, she's like, you know, I gained a couple pounds. He's like, not even. So she decides that she doesn't want to lose weight because her husband accepted her for who she is. After he pretends that he doesn't even know that she lost the weight, this man pulls out a gym membership brochure out his coat pocket. And I was just like, okay, this show is very, 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 very funny. I can't, like, I would be doing you guys a disservice saying that I wasn't laughing, but I was least laughing when I watched this the first time. But now that I knew what the episode was about, you know, I was kind of like, I already knew what to expect, so I was laughing. I'm sorry. But after this whole conversation, Michael just can't take it any longer and tells Jay that she needs to lose weight. Michael, of course, being the comedian that he is cracking jokes on Jay, and she is just not liking him. And this part was a little bit of a confliction for me because it is like, okay, I guess they made an agreement that they would joke about everything because, you know, that's just the dynamic of their relationship. That's kind of how their family dynamic is in the first place. And he made a point that, you know, when he started going bald, oh my God, it's not funny. Anyway, when he started going bald, she would make jokes about him and, you know, he just let it fly. And like I said, the nature of the show is that they do crack these cruel jokes on one another.
You've gone past Chubby Avenue. And you've missed the Oprah off-ramp. And now you're lost somewhere on Nell Carter Avenue. Remember I lost my hair? You had all the jokes. I was Sherman Hemsley. You know, I was Mr. Clean and Kojak. Remember this? He said I was the roll-on deodorant. I was the roll-on.
It's funnier when it's you, Michael.
Well, we gotta laugh about you, Jay, or you gotta do something about it.
And honestly, I joke like this with my family, but I just do feel like there is a line where it's like, if you know someone is self-conscious about something, you don't want to like poke that bear. You know, it's like there's a level of care to the jokes that you pull with people that you love and care about. So they openly had this conversation about her being self-conscious about her weight, but then you continuously make jokes after the fact. You know, that was just my personal opinion. And also the difference between, I think, Michael going bald, which is like a normal thing that guys, some guys, majority of guys go through, and Jay losing weight is like, yes, she can control it, but you can't really control when you start going bald, you know? So it's like you're asking her to lose weight, and it's like, you know, she just went away with her mom and she was saying that her mom's solution to everything is like to eat.
You know how my mother is. She had me cooking for her all the time. Her answer to everything is just food.
You must have had a million questions.
And it's like, it's not like she's asking you to get a hair transplant. Like, she's just so appalled at the fact that you guys are getting older, one, because also when you get older as a woman and a man, your body changes. So it's like you're getting older, you're an older man, and you're going bald. That's a part of life. She's not asking you to get a damn hair transplant. Like, she just accepted you for who you were. So Jay also makes a point that she would love him the same, even if he gained weight. So like if the shoe was in the other foot, like, yeah, I would love you the same. Like, we said our vows through thick and thin, through hard, through easy, through, you know, fat through skinny. And Michael just kind of tells her that, you know, the whole reason why he stays in shape, because Marlon Wayans, Damon Wayans, I was watching this season, he had on his little tank tops. I was like, he actually kind of buff, like he's actually fit. So I was like, they weren't lying about that. They wrote that in because that is true. So he says that he stays in shape to look good for Jay. And he mentioned that him staying fit was because he's seen her stay fit and be conscious about how she keeps herself up, and he just wants to continuously look good for his woman. So that's all fine and dandy, right? But then the end of this episode turns into this minstrel show, just mocking fat people. And Jay decides that she's like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't have to do none of that. I don't got to do none of what you're saying. So she's like, I'm not going to lose weight. Like, I'm just going to accept myself for who I am. Like, you trying to bully me? It ain't working. So she has this nightmare that time passes by. She decides she's not going to gain weight. I mean, she decides she's not going to lose weight, and all her family members members, Michael, Claire, Katie, and Junior, they also get fatter, and then they just start eating this like ridiculous amount of food. Like, it was kind of giving those TikToks where people be doing those mukbangs, just eating that ridiculous amount of food. What is that called? Feeder content or whatever. That's what it was giving me. And also, anyway, I'm not about to get into that. Save that for another conversation. Michael wakes the kids up by fanning a plate of bacon, and Claire and Junior come stumping down the stairs, which they don't even show them coming down the stairs, one. And it's like shaking the whole house. And even Michael jokes about being so hungry, like he would eat a puppy. And I was just like, this is like, it was just too much. I don't know. It was just distasteful to me. But then also they blame the familial weight gain on Jay setting a great example. Like, Claire's like, Mom, like, thank you for setting such a great example for us. And it was just like, this is just so extreme. But yeah, anyway, this was all Jay's nightmare. So after she has that dream, she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna lose weight. And I'm just like, I'm curious to know, because I don't remember if she actually did end up losing weight, but it's like, bro, she actually in real life had a baby. Like, what is this? Like, is she actually gonna have to lose weight for this show, or are they just gonna be like, okay, you know, it's whatever, you can keep the weight? So anyway, yeah, she decides that she's gonna lose the weight. So she clears out all the snacks that she has hidden around the bedroom. She got some out the nightstand. It was like a whole pillowcase of snacks. And then he's like, is that all? And she pulls another snack from behind the headboard. Then he's like, is that all? So then she pulls a snack out of her wig. It was just a lot. This episode was just so insensitive to me. And I know people be like, oh, you guys are so sensitive these days and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. I don't care. This episode was just so insensitive to me. It's like, they didn't even have to mention her weight gain when she came back. She could have just been gone for reasons like she was having a baby, and like they already rewrote it in the show that she was gone because her mom broke her leg. But it's like, when she came back, we could have just said nothing about her weight gain, and that could have just been fodder for people to talk about like outside of the show. But the fact that they felt like they needed to address her change in appearance was like, I don't know. And the early 2000s was also just that era where being skinny was in. And of course, also, if you've watched my Daria video about desirability, it's on the episode Too Cute. I talk about how beauty standards are a cycle. So, you know, one day being curvy and bootylicious is in, then we're going back to being skinny. But the early 2000s was definitely that era of being skinny. And so there was just this constant, you know, shock if somebody gained weight or they had a little cellulite or they had a big butt. And big butts in the early 2000s was not the big booties we got today, or just the big booties that you're used to seeing, right? And it was just crazy to see this amongst the Black community too. Like, if anybody is accepting of curves and big butts and, you know, just being a little more it should be the Black community, right? Like, that's usually how our women look, and even sometimes our men. But yeah, that's all the notes and the thoughts that I had on this episode. But I do got a couple questions for y'all, because I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments. How does the portrayal of weight gain and body image in the early 2000s sitcoms reflect the broader societal pressures placed on women during that era, and honestly today too? And at what point does the line between harmless comedy and harmless reinforcement of negative stereotypes get crossed, particularly when addressing issues of body image, race, or gender? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you would like to keep up with me again outside of YouTube, you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, made a Blue Sky account. All that information is in the description box down below. And if you made it to the end of this video, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit the notification bell to stay up to date with posts and uploads from me. But for now, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Peace.